Hi everybody, I hope you're having a good morning, noon, night, whatever time you're deciding to watch this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brittany and I'm an artist here to help you with your artist needs. For today, I thought we could learn how to paint clouds. So grab your beverage, mine's tea today, and all your supplies, they'll be listed below, and let's get to painting. I'll see you there. Might sound a little bit crazy, but we're starting with the anatomy of a cloud, the drawing anatomy, let's just say. So when you begin to do your cloud, start with the overall form, otherwise known as the shape of the cloud. No matter the type of cloud, every cloud has a light side, a dark side, and a mid-tone area. Start with the darkest part of the cloud that you can see when you're observing your reference photo. Always begin with the darkest tones first. After you've done the darkest darks within the cloud, even if you're drawing it or painting it, move to the mid-tone area, which will be that middle color area that you will see in the image. After you've completed filling in the darkest areas of your cloud and the mid-tone area of your clouds as well, if you're doing a drawing, leave the lightest parts white. And if you're doing a painting, you will of course have to add in your lighter areas. I will be showing you how to do that later on in the video. I just thought it would make more sense for me to show you with this diagram of me drawing it out first. So if you are watching this and you're more someone that does drawings, this will help you. But if you do paintings, hold on. I will be there momentarily to show you how to do a painting of a cloud. Other principles to consider when you're painting or drawing your cloud will be form, basically the overall shape of the clouds themselves, color temperature when it comes to painting the clouds, brush quality when it comes to also painting, of course, the clouds, and atmospheric perspective. Don't worry, I know I listed it out, but I am going to go into each one with in-depth details so you know exactly what I'm talking about when you're observing how to paint clouds. First things first, when you're beginning to work on your cloud, first capture the overall shape of the cloud that is within your image. If you're drawing it or painting it, that won't really matter. You just need to observe the shape that you see within the image itself and quickly jot it down and capture it. Keep in mind that it doesn't have to be 100% perfect because we will make adjustments as we go on, and clouds aren't something that is, a solid object either. It's more of a light, airish object when you begin to observe it. So we're just getting the image itself. We're just jotting it down and getting it really quickly. After capturing the overall form of your cloud, you will want to begin adding, of course, color next. Before you add your color, actually spend some time observing the image of your cloud that you have itself. Because no matter the object, whatever you're painting, whatever you're drawing, as long as it's not something that's, of course, in black and white, it will have a color temperature to it. And every color itself has a warm tone and a cool tone. Even it's considered on more so a cool analogous color, it still has a warm and a cool to it. For example, ultramarine is considered to be a warm blue because of where it is on the color scale. So ultramarine is a little bit closer to violet on the scale than it would be to blue. So if you were to pull out your own color wheel, you will be able to know exactly what I'm talking about. But another color that is more so on the cooler tone that is still considered blue will be cerulean. So if you were to just pull up a color scale, actually, you know what? Forget it. Let's just pull up one right now. I'll pull one up for you. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but here we go. So we have a color wheel. So you know exactly what I'm talking about now. So if you observe the color wheel that I have pulled up, you can see that more of that really saturated blue that's more so directly right below where the yellow is closer to the purples and the magentas. So that is considered more of a warmer tone, but when you look to the left of the image, which would be somewhere where cerulean would be, it's more of a cool tone. So when you're painting, no matter the colors that you're using, pay attention to if it's a warmer temperature or a cooler temperature, because having those correct tones will actually have your image be more realistic, if we're speaking very bluntly. Yeah. Moving on to something I 100% will, I know, have difficulties explaining, will be atmospheric perspective. I have notes on this, but I know it's going to be stupid to actually use the notes, because if you type it in, it's just like, what? When you look on the web, you're like, what the am I looking at? Like, what is this? How do I even explain this? But okay, let's imagine you are on a beach or a mountaintop. Beach, mountain. Okay, scratch it. We will be on the beach on a rock overlooking mountaintops. So we're gonna use the painting Wanderer Watching a Sea of Fog. If you are this person within this painting, what you're observing is basically pieces of rocks that's closer to you, but the further you look out into the distance, you see that what you're looking at is a little bit fuzzy and a little bit less like color within what you're looking at. That effect right there that you're observing is basically atmospheric perspective. Everything you see within your foreground is a little bit sharper, has more color within it, but the further you look into the distance, things are getting fuzzy because they're further away. So it's an effect of depth that you can see within your image. So when you go to paint your clouds or whatever landscape images, pay attention to the atmospheric perspective that you're observing within nature. Things that are closer to you will be a little bit sharper. Things that are further away will not be as sharp, and 9 times out of 10 have less saturation to them. I hope I explained that in the simplest of terms, because when you look it up, it's like, okay, that's too much. Like, just simplify this for me. So I hope I simplified that enough for you to understand exactly what I'm talking about for atmospheric perspective. So let's move on to our materials that we will need if you will be painting with me today. As always, I'll have the material list below, but let's go over them for the video. Of course, you will need your handy dandy flat brush. If you watch my videos, you know I love them. And you might also need a little bit of round brushes as well too. A little goes a long way, especially if you're doing a small painting today. The one I will be using will be 8x8, so a little quick demo for you. You'll of course need your handy dandy jar full of water. If you're preparing also your palette, you'll need your spray bottle with water, and you will need your napkins that you will have on your palette just to make sure your paint longevity will last. When it comes to painting the clouds, some of the principles are going to be of course the same, but some will be a little bit different. When you're doing a drawing, you're just going to draw absolutely everything when it comes to the drawing, but when you're painting, you're going to do the background first and then do everything that's going to be moving forward in the image after. So for instance, paint only the background. After you've painted the background of your image, then you're going to go ahead and do the form of the clouds like we've discussed before. Go with the darkest dark, the mid-tone, then the lightest light, which would be the whites of the clouds. After you did that, continue to observe the color temperatures of what you're using. And then after the color temperature, you're going to want to pay attention to the brush quality application process that you will have. With clouds not being solid, you want to use more of a dry brushing technique method. So use a dry brush and stencil some of the edges of the clouds in to make it more of a delicate, fluffy look. Okay, so I thought I would stop the video right now and go over what I mean exactly by controlling your brush quality or dry brushing techniques, basically. So with the clouds, like I was saying, you're gonna get your brush, load it up with a little bit of your paint. I'm gonna do the lights for this because what we're trying to do is add a little fuzzy detail on the edges of the clouds, even on some of the parts that have the highlights. So get your brush, load it up with your white paint. And if you watch any of my other videos, you know I have mentioned getting more so of a dry brush to do some blending. So after you've gone ahead and added some of your white paint touches, take your dry brush and just dab it on top of some of the areas that you've painted. Remember, it does not have to be 100% perfect at all, because clouds are not perfectly fluffy or completely round. So just adding some of the paint, dabbling in it a little bit, and then just going over that area. Or if you still have some paint pigment on your dry brush, dab some of that in some of the areas on the edges, and then you will have that fuzzy look. So voila! And now back to your regularly scheduled program. So continue to work with the darkest tones, like I said, then to the mid-tone, after the mid-tone, the light tone. So that's basically everything it comes to when it comes to drawing the clouds. Just have a light application process, nothing too heavy, nothing too sharp, and just continue to blend out some of the edges. So it's really that simple. Just paying attention to the principles that I discussed earlier, that I showed you with the drawing process, and same thing when it comes to painting. So I hope this wasn't too quick of a video. If I need to go over it a little bit more, let me know in the comments, because I can do another cloud painting and just slow it down, but I thought it would be a little bit faster to do the explanations and then do the cloud time lapse. So thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions or have any suggestions on what I should do next, please comment below and let me know what all of your suggestions would be. See you next time. Bye.